Saying in there's a proverb in the world that they say that if you give a man a fish, he'll feed himself for a day. If you teach him how to fish, then he will feed himself for a lifetime. And the easiest thing is for me to come here, coach the children, but you know what? Tomorrow it's all gone, it's all forgotten. But if we can come here and help you guys to see the world in a little bit from a different angle, a paradigm shift of how you see the world, how you see coaching, how you see skills, just alter it a little bit so that we can all improve. And as I said, it's getting the children to be better. You know what, for me, where we started to where we finished was just so much different. Did you feel that yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely, I enjoyed you asking the children questions. Lovely, excellent explanation. How did you feel after the fourth time?
Yeah, it's the first time they all answered and they just gave points and points. Then the third and fourth group just closed off after 2 points, and then you're like, oh, you need to rethink a little bit.
Yeah, it gets easier, you know, and when the children know what they're doing, what they're looking for, and then it gets easier. How was the ruck exercise? What did you learn?
Better. Well, we focus more on skill, but in the end, you focus more on the individual, basically. Somehow the skill was the key to focusing on what each person did. That's the feeling I have. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I could hear a lot of hoo-haing and cheering, which is great. You know, got the enthusiasm going, and you know, that's great. I like all that. You know, for the children, they like.
Yeah.
So, just on, you know, we've put you in the shit because we haven't given you much time to prepare. But that's life. And also the explanation. We don't want to waste too much time. I want you to be aware of how much talking you're doing sometimes. Okay, we don't need. Next time we do these drills, we won't need so much talking, will we? Okay,
I do have a question there. I'm the underage next year, under 10, so there's another more of new elements coming to the game, and they have no clue what the role of that element is. So, how do you deal with that?
Can you give an example of an element?
Well, for instance, just the ruck. Well, the tackle is quite a technique thing, but the mold, the ruck, they don't understand what the role of that thing is.
The biggest thing, and it's not only for under 10s, is that how can you break down a technique or a skill. So how can you actually make sure that you start with a simple thing? Let's now say we started with the mole. Yeah. Well, I would introduce it as very simple. Okay, we get a ball, throw it up. Okay, good. We go down, up, and stand.
But
and then we go. Then the rest. Yeah.
But the why?
Yeah, with the why. So you break it down in a little thing. So let's say you want to train the ruck. Yeah. It starts all with the ball carrier.
Yeah.
So you want to see ball carrier using feet, getting his hips straight, going down, presenting the ball nice. Okay, if we do that well, we can actually add the first man coming over. How do we do that? From where is he coming in? Yeah, so you need to break it down to a little skill instead of the whole. If you teach the whole, then you won't get any better. So how can we actually break it down and make it fun, put it in a game, and then also focus on that little part? If the rest goes wrong, who cares?
Yeah, I'm more struggling, struggling, it's a big word, but saying the underage are not tackling yet, and next year they get, let's say, the tackle, the ruck, and more probably a lot less, but they have to, they don't know, I can train them the technique, but they don't know the context. Why am I training this?
Yeah, why?
Because they don't know it, they're tagging, yeah?
Yeah, but why are they tagging? To get their foot close, to get that in, to get the shoulder in.
Yeah.
So actually here you already can add the foot, because the foot is important to get the tag. So you have to see, that's again breaking it down. What are they learning now through tagging to get the tackle right?
Yeah.
So they're going down, they're going this. So it's so if I can give, and that's my advice, I don't want to keep to the end, but I'll do it now, is as a coach, and it's very simple. I've did a lot of them. I've had to read these books of level 3 coaches and all that, and in all those exercises, they always forgot one person, and it was themselves. How are you going to improve yourself? Yeah, and improving yourself means also knowledge. So how can you get the knowledge to break down exercises to the minimum, to make sure that you focus on one detail instead of 6, 7. Yeah? And try to see how you can improve yourself on the field. So if you have your lesson plan, also see what is my goal today. How am I going to improve myself? Maybe you're going to say, I'm only going to talk 20 seconds and the exercise needs to start. I'm gonna give 10 times individual feedback. I'm gonna ask 7 questions today. Yeah? So how can you improve yourself? And the same thing is knowledge. Try to break down techniques into little parts, like we did there, to make sure you can then make it one whole big thing. Anything to add there?
No, just go.
No, I think like one thing you said is there's who cares if all the other things go wrong, but there's a lot of competitiveness and honesty in a lot of the young people, like even in the whole group. How do you deal with that effectively? Because they get really frustrated if the competitiveness, if they get competitive or if it's not honest and stuff.
Everybody knows the goal.
What's the goal?
What's the goal?
Yeah, but if you say
Is it a
this
game
is the goal, but if it's a game and they get too competitive, they just get too competitive to even have fun. And you notice them getting up in the
It's a
line.
team concept, yeah. So the biggest struggle we have with under 10s, the benches and turfs, is the team concept. You know, they struggle to understand rugby is not a single man's game. For them, it's all about scoring tries, all man.
Yeah, and the
So it's a whole dynamic that you have to bring in, you know, in what is the team, what is your, you know, you can't do it alone. There's more to it. You have to trust your fellow player that he's going to support you and help you. You know, for the under 10s, it's a longer layout. You have to have a lot of patience with them to make them understand that part. You know, with a team like these, it's senior, I must say, I'm quite impressed. You know, they picked up like that in a few seconds.
So how do you praise then? If you're under 10s, what do you praise? You praise it when it goes well, when you use the team. You can use a second ball, it's very simple. Say there's satellite players on the side. When it gets stuck, you throw the ball to that guy and he scores. Oh, brilliant. Why did he score? Because he was standing in the right position. So how can you manipulate the environment and praise the right things to actually create a team instead of the competitiveness? So
Children will always want to play games.
yeah, they have to.
They want, you know, but they'll always want to play games. But what you have to do is to make sure they learn how to play rugby simultaneously. So as a game, okay, we're going to do 5 minutes of skill work. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the game. We'll go back over here. We're going to do some footwork over here. Then you get running around. Then you come out, play a game, and you go back over there and do something else. And so they're always, it's natural for them to run and score tries. You don't have to train that.
No, that's what
But
we don't.
it's the outcome versus the process. If you get the process right and how you do it, then the outcome will look after itself. How did you enjoy the tackling then?
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I was watching you. You were really enthusiastic. Lots of good, accurate feedback to the children as well.
Yeah.
And
They enjoyed.
what you find is that some groups will be a little bit more advanced than others.
Yeah.
So, like the first group was quite advanced. You could have moved on a little bit quicker, perhaps, from the remedial stuff, and then gone to, as soon as they get a little more comfortable with it, let's get on and do a little bit more running around, you know.
Yeah, but we saw with the experienced group, they wanted to tackle hard and to put them on the ground, but then put them on the back. But that, we don't want that. We wanted to hold them. So what went wrong the first time is when what you see at the moment with rugby is they tackle all with their arms, so always the hit will be on the muscles. So we changed the exercise to put the arms like here and just put the shoulder and then grab them and hold them. And don't put air between his arms.
You're learning it.
Bits.
You're learning on the job.
Yeah,
What I said at the start was be an expert at something.
Yeah.
So you know what, you're growing into becoming good tackle coaches.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to grow into becoming good ruck coaches and do it all the time and become and work it down. And I'm sure you felt as you went from group to group, you were getting better at it as well, because you were coached, you were training of how to teach a particular skill. You know, and going back to the maul, the thing with the maul is a very technical issue. It takes a long time, and it wasn't perhaps suitable for what I was trying to run. That's all. That's why we were rushing you, and otherwise mauling will go in 3 hours.
I understand, but it's a powerful weapon, as you know. You know, it's one that I've seen the least used by the Dutch rugby. So that's why I want to bring it from the grassroots.
Well, you come and watch us now and we're very powerful, I'll tell you that. Yes, that's so good. We are talking about the 10s, Tell me, how was the coordinator, the person in the middle with the whistle? Was he a pain in the ass? What was his job?
Make sure things is running smoothly.
Is it
Yeah,
something
was-
that you can add or to your training sessions?
One session was longer than the other, so I anticipated in the following session now that was the time we have, but then it was shorter. So it's good to have somebody, but when the exercise develops, I want to be in charge on to proceed or not. I think it's good to have somebody on the side, but not to dictate when the exercise starts.
No,
Before it's finished.
but what happens if you keep on going, you know what, it just runs and runs and the kids will just get bored. And also, it sharpens you up and it sharpens the kids up because you know you've got to get it and stop. And then move on and come back to it then. And it's amazing the children will come back to it and they will improve again. But if you do 10 minutes, it's far too long. We lose the children's concentration and enthusiasm by going on.
I think it's a practical challenge, because we have big groups of kids and we have sometimes a lack of trainers, so it's somebody's running one of the stations is doing also the timekeeping.
Timekeeping.
So you're doing it
Yeah.
together.
Hey Perry.
So we're all guilty. We're all guilty of hanging around and talking too much. We all do it, and then all of a sudden it just runs away.
I do watch the time, but
And last week, one of the coaches said to me, he said that you stopped. I only had 4 minutes, and the kids were getting it wrong. And I said, if they're getting it wrong, stop. We'll keep on doing it because something's not quite working here. So have a break. We'll come back to it, and they'll be a little bit better then. Don't have to force it or rush it, you know. It's a little bit all the time. The passing drill, you've got to be doing that every session. 5 minutes every session. And when they get to a standard, 3 minutes every session. Every session, without fail. High ball, every session, you've got to be doing these skills. Because this is so important for the tools for the kids moving forward. And as I said, have a game. I have 2 games going here with different laws, rules. Keep the flow game, 2 passes, 3 passes, 1 pass, kick in, okay, we can kick, everybody kick, you know, whatever you decide. And then we go into the skills and get these done. Get these done. Guys, we're all passing through the game. We're all passing through, and it's really important to leave the game in a better place than we find it. With our standards of behaviour. We're looking after the sport, how we teach these children is really important, what you leave behind. So let's just focus on that, I think. That's how I see the world. That's the biggest thing I've learned as a coach. And when I was a teacher in Abu Dhabi, in a private school, as director of rugby, first day, principal came on to me, he said, Lyn, welcome to the school. What's your job? You serious or what? So I tried to explain, blah, blah, blah. No, he said, no. He said, your job is to inspire young boys, he said. They come here as young boys and they lead as young men. He said, inspire them. Well, yeah, changed my life. Those words changed my life, you know. And I set about coaching differently, not just to young boys, but to men as well. And just respect the process. Just respect the process. Don't worry about the outcomes, they'll come. They'll come. Alright? So don't be outcome focused, be processful. Improve how you do it. Okay? Yours players over there really good progress, identifying, feeding back, lovely. All good stuff. They're seeing something, feeding back. That was really good. Praising them. Get into these boys, keep them going. Okay, and be specific what you are praising for or what you think they should be doing. Especially with the breakdown. It's so technical. They're all over the place. There's so much going on. But they got the idea and eventually just keep feeding back. They'll get it. They'll get it. Oof, everything will be sharp then and things. So don't give up on it. Please, organize yourself. I don't know who's in charge, but let's get a plan. What are we going to do tonight? Get it out to everybody. We're starting this time. We're going to train for 1 hour. I'm going to be in the middle with a whistle. and we're going to go. Don't get pissed off if I blow the whistle. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry. Off you go, children. Off you go. Next, please. And you learn to then give feedback in 10 seconds. You will learn to speak less. You just get to the point. Alright? And otherwise the kids stand around, they get bored, they get cold, and lose concentration. So that's what I think.
How was it for you guys to train kids? Because you're normally training students, isn't it?
I have experienced through my career that from 15, 16 years old, I can communicate with them. So that's, I know.
You got on the 40s, man.
So I know when I do train children, kids, it has to be 15 or older. That's when I make connection with them. Younger, I don't have any connection. So
It was,
Oh,
a challenge,
nice.
it was a challenge for you today.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It is, it's different. It's a challenge for me. Coaching Tier 2 rugby players is completely different to coaching Tier 1 rugby players. The challenges are different.
Yeah.
There's so much to cover, and you can't cover everything.
Well, it's more of the way how I want to interact with people. And from that age on, there's an interaction. It's not about the game, it's about the interaction with you. You call it inspiring. And then I can tell some of the kids and they understand me, or I'll think they understand me. But when there's a youngster from 10 years old, it's so out of
So
my
why is that? Why can't a 13-year-old, why can't you talk or inspire 13-year-old people?
It's
with
out of my comfort
interaction?
zone. It's way out of my comfort zone. It's
Wow.
really difficult
So
to
that's
do.
the problem we've got. We've got treatment.
Need a therapist?
Are you having treatment for it now?
No.
Or you don't see it as a weakness, you think it's okay.
It's okay.
You have children or what?
Yeah, I've got.
You already started noticing when you turned 16 or what?
I come back with 16.
Hey Mom, this is your job.
Maybe that is why.
I'm only asking because I used to be 13.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. It has to be fun for me, for myself also.
agree.
And I don't get fun out of it when I'm training 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. It's no.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard work.
Yeah. And
You
hard
don't
work
get-
is
you don't
doesn't
get much back from them, really, you know. It's a tough challenge.
Yeah.
You know? But when you do get something back, the reward that you feel as a coach, I have with, I'm coaching Benjis now, 8 to 9 years old. As soon as they grasp that concept that I bring over, the mole concept at that age already, of the ruck, what their role is, and I can see them in the game, in the following game, and they just do it.
Yeah, it's nice to see the progress.
Oh,
you only have to
you know,
just reserve time for 5 minutes every training, every game to just tie up the laces.
and then,
Then become an expert in tying up laces.
I'll do that. I know you.
Have you got any tips for us on game coaching? Because
Yeah.
this is practice on a practice session. During the season, Martin,
No, none at all. I'm not interested, to be honest. I'm interested in you improving the individual. The game is not already shoot to me. It's all about learning how to train. And if this age group I'm coaching today, the youngsters I'm talking about, I saw kids out there who couldn't catch and couldn't pass. And I think that's wrong. I think you should just focus on getting these guys to catch and pass. And once they can catch and pass, once they've got the tools, then we can start talking about what are you going to do in the game.
I mean, you're during the game, or
yeah, because
do you mean during the game or game training?
when we have during the game, because
During the game.
during practice, they have the skills enough, but when we start a game, the first 20 minutes, it's almost like the mind wasn't switched on. And after losing the first 20 minutes of the match, they start getting back to their skills that are already there. And the second half of a match, they won during the season, most of the games. But the first 20 minutes were not concentrated, not switched on, not using the skills that they have obtained during the
They're not
sessions.
motivated, are they?
That was strange thing. We asked him. So I asked him after 3 games. He said, "I'm a little bit fed up from it because if you do a training session maybe before for 30 minutes or 1 hour, Then you will be tired and you will start your match. It's the second half. But and I was there. I wanted to be more tired before the game, so we did a really hard training before. It worked for one time. The second time we did it, they were not spot on. But,
Can I
It's
have
so
a
hard to get
question?
it switched on.
Question maybe on that. So, do you make goals before the game based on what you trained? Like really simple details.
Yeah, we could
Let's
do
say we
that
want to
better.
have good footwork today, and make sure the presentation goes well, and there's just simple basics as goals. And you can always remind them back in your 20. What did we say? Okay, good presentation, good footwork. Okay, guys, let's go. So let's try to start to work from there, and then you can combine it. And
That's
bring
the
it.
process. Focus on the process.
Right.
Don't go with it, it's not important. It's about enjoyment and improvement. And you guys improving. How you coach, isn't it?
That's the hard part, because all those kids just want to win. And if you...
Well, of course they do, and let them carry on. Let them carry on. But you as a teacher, as an instructor, you are guiding them to improve as an individual. They'll take care of all that. Take the pressure off them. Change your focus. That's what I do. That's what I do. If I'm improving the individual, then the whole game is looking after it. So it's a long-term process. But it's upside down. We're focusing on winning at the age of 10. No. Fucking totally, utterly wrong. Develop the sports person, develop the individual, please. Worry about winning when they get to 16. Sorry, but that's my opinion here. You know, on long-term athlete development and programs, and that's how it is.
Good. Alright. Yes. Thank you everyone. We I personally, I don't know you, but I enjoyed myself. No, I saw
This was the best club, wasn't it?
was the best club I've been to. Unbelievable. No, really.
It's also formulaic.
But the improvement from start to finish was pretty good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And right at the end, everything was so dynamic. The coaching was much better. And yeah, the beer is not so good.
No, it is.
It's not. Oh, that was this thing, yeah.
No, thank you all. And, well
Thank you very much.
done.
We could good. No, we didn't. We only have